All right, I'm here with Ben Sanderson. He's the director of baseball player and program development. I was asking you a couple questions, and thank you for giving me this opportunity. Can you briefly go in depth your education experience and then your baseball experience for me?
Yeah, baseball experience. I played at East Carolina in the early 2000s for Keith LeClaire my first 4 years, and I played for Randy Basie my 5th year. Didn't have any opportunities to play professional baseball. Was really kind of an overachiever, just playing in college, and kind of carved out a role for myself in the program. But the main thing I remember from college days is we had some really good teams. As far as educational background, undergrad was in physical activity and fitness, exercise, sports science, and I got my master's in sport management, which I understand you're working on as well. So, yeah, and that educational background, I started out in minor league baseball, doing some things in an internship to finish up my degree in sport management, and then kind of went the way of the coaching, scouting route, and have been doing that ever since.
Where did you go following baseball? Like, where did you start out as? Like, you went to minor league, and what your experience after that?
Well, I started, the minor league experience was just basically an internship, working in group sales, and then I started out as a volunteer assistant at East Carolina. Came back to East Carolina in a coaching position, which is basically entry-level coaching. From there, I moved on to Florida Atlantic in a full-time role. Came back to East Carolina as a recruiting coordinator in 2013 and 14, and then I moved into professional scouting, and I came back over to the college side from professional scouting to this role, which is a lot different than the coaching side of things. In college, it's a little bit of everything, but not as much as hands-on teaching and coaching with the players, and not a lot of recruiting. It's just kind of a mixed bag of responsibilities.
No, you said you were at ECU 2013, 2014?
Yes.
Would you happen to know Travis Watkins?
I do.
Yeah, he went to the same high school as I did, Cox Mill.
Yep. Yeah, I know Travis very well. He is a remarkable kid. Was an absolute pleasure to coach and be around each and every day. In fact, I was on a staff that we were actually let go in 2014, and a big part of that, we lost Travis early that season. He had an olecranon fracture in his elbow, and he hit for about 15 games that year, basically hitting with one hand. And he was hitting about 415. So it was pretty good with one arm, but the pain got to a point where he just had to have the surgery. And we really missed him that year, and he went on to have a great career. And it's just like I said, he's a fantastic kid.
So what brought you here to state?
It's NC State for one.
Yeah.
I jumped out of professional scouting, which was I really enjoyed, but at the same time, I just got married when I got into professional scouting. It is a very tough profession in terms of balancing work and home life, and this gives me a little bit more balance, in terms of being able to be home, more in the off season, and even a little bit more this time of year than I would if I were on the road, in the Carolinas, kind of back and forth chasing prospects. But the main thing is it's NC State, man. This is a program with a tremendous tradition. It's a great coaching staff. They have won year in, year out since Coach Avent has been here, and in the past with Coach Tanner and Coach Esposito. It's just a very rich history, and to be a part of that is, anytime you get to be a part of something like that, is truly an honor. So that's the main reason I came. So
you said you're a professional scout. What team were you scout for?
Seattle Mariners.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah, scouted with the Seattle Mariners for about a year, and like I said, it was a really, really great experience. I learned a lot in that year, a lot in terms of how to evaluate players, how to look outside of what the norm is, of what you normally look for in players, and understanding analytics.
I heard analytics is a huge part of the game now.
So it was really interesting to be in that draft room and see the different ideas that are tossed about. You have some analytics guys, and they give their take on the player, and then you got some of the old school baseball guys that give their take on things, and it's just really interesting to see how that all comes out.
So what are some of your highlights that you've had since you've been here?
Watching last year's team hit was a lot of fun, with Brock Deffridge and Josh McClain, Brett Kinnaman, Stephen Patera, Shane Shepard, some of the guys that aren't with us any longer this year. Pat Bailey, who is back. Will Wilson. It was just Evan Edwards. It was a really good offensive team last year. One of the best offensive teams I've ever been around. And just on a day-to-day basis, watching those guys go about their business was really, really fun. We had a really, really good group of older guys last year. The guys that I mentioned, along with Johnny Piedmont, Joe O'Donnell, some of our other seniors that have moved on, they understood how to go about their business. They understood how to do things the right way. Excuse me. And that was a big highlight. And we had a good year. We had some holes last year in some spots that ended up costing us towards the end of the season, but it was a really, really cool group of guys to be around. And I think this year's team has got some of the same attributes and or even better in some spots than last year's team was.
What do you do specifically in your position? Like, what are your jobs?
It's a little bit of everything.
A little bit of everything?
Yep, it's a little bit of everything. What I try to do as much as possible is take as much work off of our assistant coach's desk as I can to free them up to do what they're here to do and what they're best at, which is develop our players and recruit new players. Anything I can do to make that easier and to free them up, that's what I try to do. But it's a little bit of everything.
Okay.
Just depends on the time of year. A lot of communications with the ground staff. A lot of communication with the teams that we have coming into play. Some help with the scouting reports during the spring. That's kind of the main responsibility this time of year. And then summer is kind of all over the place.
Yep.
Doing whatever I need to do to help.
Who are some of your mentors throughout your career?
Coach Keith LeClaire, who I played for at East Carolina, obviously was a really big mentor. He taught me about work ethic, taught me about doing things the right way in terms of how to work smart. He actually passed away of ALS in 2005, so we certainly miss him. I think everybody that I've worked for, I've taken bits and pieces from John McCormack at Florida Atlantic, from Billy Godwin at East Carolina, from Coach Avent here at NC State. You just try to take the best of each guy and apply it to what you do on a daily basis. And I would say those guys, along with my dad, they have been the kind of mentors I looked up to.
And I was reading through, and you actually wore Coach LeClaire's number. How much of an honor was that for you to do?
It goes beyond what words can express, man. It was. I had the honor of being the first one to wear it. He actually asked me to wear the number. When he was still with us, and just being in that moment and being able to represent what he was and what he was about for an entire year was. I've never been able to. I think words almost cheap it. But it was truly an honor.
That's cool. What are some of the key skills that you believe you have obtained that have made you successful in your baseball career, post college?
Skills I learned through baseball that have made I think just work, knowing how to work and do things the right way. Not being too robotic about the way you go about your business. Just understanding that each day is going to present a new challenge that you've got to face and you got to overcome, and not letting those challenges overwhelm you. Just knowing that you're doing what you're capable of doing on a daily basis and doing the best you can.
What do you love about your days working around the sport of baseball?
Just being around the guys.
Just being around the guys.
Yep, that's the best part of this, and that's what you miss on the professional side. Being in scouting is you're around them, but it's in a very professional, a very professional interaction, very professional sense. Being around the guys here is just you almost get to become their friends. And that's what I missed being in scouting, and that's the best part of each day is just coming in there when those guys start getting here for practice and spending the next 3 to 4 hours around them is really a fun part of this.
I bet. On a rough estimate, how many hours a week do you think you spend working?
A lot.
Yeah.
Especially this time of year. Yeah, I mean, this time of year, it's, I normally get here around a little after 7, and I'm here until question mark. Sometimes it's 8 o'clock at night, sometimes it's 10 o'clock at night. Sometimes I may be able to get out of here at 5. It's just, You know, anytime you work in athletics, whether it be at the professional side, whether it be at the college side, you're not going to have normal hours.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to
Yeah.
have a normal life. The expectation of a normal 9 to 5 life with weekends goes out the window. But there's also a lot of positives that,
Mm-hmm.
that you get that people with those normal lives don't. That they don't.
Yeah.
You know, you get some experiences like the walk-off win. You know, Brad Debo's hit yesterday to sweep Minnesota, a very good Minnesota team. The normal person that has weekends off and
Yeah.
you know has 9 to 5 jobs, they don't get the
They don't get to
experience,
experience that, exactly.
that
Yeah.
high and that rush. So there's goods and bads, but it's a lot of hours, it's
Mhm.
a lot of work, but it's fun work.
Oh,
You know,
yeah.
you're watching film,
Mm-hmm.
you know, you're preparing for your opponents, so that's a good point.
Especially if it's something that you love and just have a huge passion for.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
What are the most challenging parts of your job?
You know, being away from home
Mhm.
is a challenge. You know, whenever normally this time of year we're probably traveling, especially starting league play. We're going to be traveling every other weekend. So every other weekend you're leaving on Thursday morning and you're not coming home till Sunday night. You know, my wife's at home; she's by herself at
Mhm.
home, and that's not. You know, you'd like to spend more time with family.
Yeah.
And so I would think that's probably the biggest downside, but there's not many.
It's not many.
There's not. It's a pretty good gig.
Oh, yeah.
It's a pretty good
I bet.
life. Yeah.
Well, what are some advice you give to someone wanting to pursue a career in this sport?
Get to know as many people as you can. Build as many relationships as you possibly can in the game, because it's all about who you know and who knows you. And that's how you get jobs.
Exactly.
And become a lifelong learner.
Mhm.
Just read and never stop learning. Even when you get well into your career, you get 15, 20 years into your career, try to challenge yourself to learn something new each
Yeah.
day. Read, listen to speakers that that are experts in your field. You can always kind of broaden your view on things.
Mhm.
That's always available to you.
Yeah, that answers my next question. I was asked how important is it to network and build relationships, and I would assume it's huge. It's
Yeah.
crucial.
In baseball, it's
Yeah,
everything.
I bet.
Yep. That's what will lead to advancing your career more than anything
Yeah.
that you can
I
do,
bet.
besides just being really, really good at your job.
What opportunities are there that involves the program here at State for students?
What's that now? I'm
Are
sorry.
there any opportunities for students to work for the program or do anything for the program?
Mainly, what's the opportunities are as managers, student
Okay.
managers. We have 4 right now that are tremendous, and they, they're as big a part of what we're doing here on a day-to-day basis, as big a part of the success of our program as anybody. They set up the field, they break down the field, they catch bullpens. They help us in the dugout with managing the game, keeping things flowing there, keeping the pace of everything up. It's just that it goes without words how much that they do for our program. So that's really the opportunity as a student to get involved, and it's just tough.
Yeah.
It's tough because those guys do such a good job. We want to hold on to them as long as they're here.
And then what qualifications would you say? Just work hard and
Willing to work,
Yeah.
willing to show up on time, willing to be flexible in terms of what your role is going to be. Get your hands dirty.
Yep.
You've taken off these tarps every day when they're
Oh, yeah.
soaking wet and
Yeah.
they got dirt all over
Yeah.
them, and you walk out of here, you're 5 minutes here, and you got covered in dirt
Yeah.
and mud, and it's just really the main qualification is just love baseball.
Mhm.
I think all 4 of our guys
Yeah.
really, really love the game, and I think that's important.
yeah, oh yeah. And my final question, if you could say one thing to a college student who loves their sport and wants to continue working towards their goals of having that as a staple in their life, what would you say to them?
Just get to know as many
Just
people
get to
as
know,
you can.
yeah.
Yep, and get to know as many people as you can. Learn as much about your field and continue to learn as much about your field when you get into it as you possibly can. Keep an open mind. Like I said, don't become too robotic about the way you go about things. Each day is going to present something in sports. Each day is going to present something a little bit new. Be able to kind of roll with those new things each day, and don't get too locked into one way of doing things.
Yes.
Because it's a lot, man. There's a lot on you, but you just got to kind of take it in
Oh
and
yeah,
roll with
I
it.
bet.
Yeah.
All right, thank you very much.
Yeah, absolutely.